the Friday report, and I got your other email. But there was no picture with the email.
Okay.
Yeah, six for, six for,
I got today.
three. Three's a quorum.
And a night.
What do we need, a three-fifths quorum?
Issues. Call them?
No,
Great quorum, Marty. Three quorum is three.
5. Yeah, well, including you,
Including me, but
My chest is so sore.
or for 6 for voting.
an heart attack?
But there's no voting tonight.
No voting.
No.
Jim?
Oh, the other
Terry will be here tomorrow.
There's no votes tonight, so we'll find either way.
That's true.
Going. Call to order. This is the Monday, July 18th, Joliet City Pre-Council Meeting. Krista Desiderio, call the roll, please.
Mayor Odekirk?
Here.
Councilwoman Gavin?
Here.
Councilman Girl?
Here.
Councilman Hug?
Here.
Councilman McFarland?
Here.
Councilman Morris? Absent. Councilman Mudrin? Absent. Councilwoman Coleman?
here.
Councilman Turk? Absent. Are there any citizens to be heard on agenda items this evening? Seeing none, we'll pass it over to the city manager to go over the agenda items.
Directing your attention to the agenda, tomorrow evening we'll have the city auditors here. They also conducted the audit for the Rialto, and so I think they're two separate people, but they'll both be here to be able to answer any of your questions about our audit and the Rialto as well. And later on in the agenda, under the consent is the receipt of the comprehensive annual financial report as well. So, Council Memo 325 has a number of position vacancies, filling of a sergeant position due to a retirement in the police department, patrol officer position as well, clerk typist in finance, lieutenant position in the fire department, and 3 positions of firefighter in the fire department as well. And then there's a lift station mechanic vacancy in the public utilities department as well. Council Memo 326 is the renewal and authorization for our property and casualty coverages. We're in year 2 of a 3-year agreement for broker agreement with Arthur J. Gallagher Risk Management Services. They represent us as the sole broker, and they go out and they seek bids on our coverage each year. They're making a recommendation of $689,611, which is actually just a 2.5% decrease, or $17,650 savings from last year. Coverages remain the same. I do want to point out, though I think it's important, a couple of years ago, we added as coverage a potential loss of income. If there was a tornado that hit the Joliet Mall and we lost all the sales tax revenue during renovation, that would be covered. So we did add that, and it was fairly cheap, so it is something we're including in future years as well. Our liquor commissioners are unavailable this evening, so I'll read their reports. This is Council Memo 329. Public hearing was held on Wednesday, June 29th, 2016 at 10 a.m. for the issuance of a new Class E license. The applicant requesting the license is Fidel Valencio. This is Ranchero Mexican Restaurant located at 3501 Shanahan Road. Maria Gonzalez will be the restaurant manager. No citizens appeared in opposition at the hearing, and there were no outstanding monies owed to the city. The fire and building departments have no issues with the issuance of the license. Based on the facts at the hearing, the Liquor Commission is recommending approval of this license. Next item is Council Memo 330, which is another liquor license. Public hearing again was held on Wednesday, June 29th at 9 a.m. for the transfer of a Class C license. The requesting applicant was Kirkumar Pandya, and this is Joliet Liquors, located at 120 South Larkin Avenue. Resident manager will be Atif Aid. No citizens appeared in opposition at the hearing. No outstanding monies owed to the city. Police, fire, and building departments have no issues with the issuance of this license. Based on the facts and the facts at the hearing, Liquor Commission is recommending approval.
Mayor,
Yes.
I'm sure it was just an inadvertent omission. You mentioned that the police, fire, and building departments have no issues.
Yes.
I was going to ask, on the one before it, you didn't mention the police. You said building and fire.
Yeah. Well, let me clarify. The building department, or the police department in the first one recommended that approval be granted, but it be closely monitored. And upon further investigation, what the concern was that the building was to be physically joined next door, and clarification was made, discussed it with the police chief at the staff meeting today, and because they're physically separated, he dropped his concerns about keeping an eye on things.
Okay.
So
all three are.
So you're right, all three in the first case
Okay.
would be recommending. Turning your attention to Council Memo 332. Tomorrow evening, there'll be a public hearing on both 332 and there will be, one is an annexation of 2 parcels, approximately 66 acres, and a special use permit to allow a trucking terminal at the northeast corner of Laraway Road and Route 52. Site's currently agricultural production and utilized utility right-of-way. Estes Express Lines is the petitioner, and the proposed terminal will include 467 trailers, 115 tractors, and 298 vehicles. Development includes a 67,000 square foot metal building with 147 dock doors and a future 24,000 building potential expansion. It will also include a 6,000 square foot masonry office adjoining the docking building and about 21,000 square foot metal shop building. The landscaping will provide a buffer along Route 52 where the truck access will be allowed exclusively. And the entire site will have a chain link perimeter fence. Next item is also a public hearing, Council Memo 333.
Yes.
Can we go back to this item?
Certainly.
Jim, I don't know, I know Mr. Hansen's here. He's representing this client. I know there was some discussion in the zoning meeting, I believe it was zoning or planning, regarding the electric fence with the subdivision next door.
Yes.
What was the response to that?
Well, there's 2 fences. There's a low voltage electrical fence, which is allowable. It's not something that's dangerous to people, but sends the message. So we do have it.
That's the second fence.
Yeah, that's the second fence. Inside of the first fence that doesn't have the electricity.
Gotcha.
There is some other electric fences around town at similar facilities, and precautions like that are
I
taken
think there
in
was an
most
article or
cases.
something about this, and I got an email just asking what the,
Yeah, it was the first I'd heard about an electrical fence myself, and I brought that up with staff to get clarification.
it's a secondary fence after
Right.
the, got it. Okay, thank
Yes.
you.
Next item is a petition from Randy Harris requesting annexation of 8.82 acres located east of Rowell Road. This will allow consolidation of this property with his existing Joliet Auto Parts business located at 1014 East Washington Street. They're looking to allow the business to expand their vehicle shredder operation and again, combining process permitting it in one municipality. They use the existing pond to utilize as a vapor in order to suppress the dust during this process. Detachment fees have been paid to the East Joliet Fire Protection District, and it's before you for consideration. This again is another public hearing.
Mayor,
Yes.
just backing up to 332 for a minute. Can you tell me where is the contiguous boundary to annex that parcel? Because I was looking and I wasn't finding it in my maps, so I'm sure there's something I'm missing. Because I was always under the understanding you had to have a contiguous piece of
Councilwoman?
Joliet property to butt up to that.
Excellent question. Excellent question. The property abuts the Forest Preserve on the north, and by statute, you can jump the Forest Preserve property. City of Joliet property is contiguous, joining the Forest Preserve property. So that's the answer.
That's the answer. Thanks, Mike. I knew there was an answer to it.
Council Memo 335 is Cap Barbell, who operates a 200,000 square foot distribution facility at 3499 South Chicago Street, just south of the Chicagoland Expressway, is looking to expand their facility and double its size to 400,000 square feet. The one thing that it is going to do is manufacture fencing, because they've received an increased demand and are marketing to home improvement stores at this point. So the request is for a 5-year, 50% tax abatement, but it's strictly on the new equalized assessed value created by the expansion, not on the existing facility. There would be an increase in number of employees from 32 to 50. These would be manufacturing jobs, and that fits in with the city's strategic plan and also the council goal to encourage the creation and expansion of manufacturing employment here in Joliet. The growth potentially will go from 50 to 100 employees in future years. Cap Barbell has indicated that their expansion will utilize prevailing wage labor and contractors participating in apprentice and training programs as well.
Mayor?
Yes.
And Jim, also one last thing to point out is they also said that they do their own hiring too. Cap Barbell does. It's not a temp service. We did ask that question. Councilman Morris did. So yes, I agree with you. It's not only it fits our comprehensive plan, but this
They're all full-time positions. Yeah.
Right, and this is the first time. This is the first person that jumps in the swimming pool. Right. This is a manufacturer that
Right.
has partnered with us and has faith in Joliet being able to accommodate manufacturing, and we know we can. They know we can, and now others will see that we can.
So, question. So this is for Mr. Hug, because of the Economic Development Committee. So in other words, if they hire somebody to be a warehouse worker, after 90 days, they're not going to get rid of them. They're going to keep them on full-time with benefits?
Well, they already have a distribution center with their own employees. This expansion is going to be manufacturing, brand new. So yeah, it's going to be directly.
Right, but I
employed.
just wanted to clarify that.
Right, they'll be employing them directly.
Okay.
The way it was described to me is management will be hired out of their based through their headquarters in Houston, I believe it is, or in Texas. And then once they have that manager here, he'll do all the local hiring.
But again, it won't be the 90 days, and then
It's
we
not
don't
going to be
need
through
you
a temp
anymore.
service, no.
Okay,
Nope. Good question.
thank you.
We've had enough of those, haven't we?
Just want it for the record.
Next item is Council Memo 336, and this is an amendment to the lease for the Joliet Union Station. As you know, Bussant Catering has utilized the second floor of Union Station for catering weddings for the last 15 years. The current lease agreement expired December 31st of 14, and he's been operating under the same terms and conditions on a month-to-month basis. So at this point in time, Bussant has notified us that they are going to cease operations mid-January of 2017. And so this is a 6-month agreement, excuse me, and for a flat fee of $5,000 a month, June through December. We also, as part of that, we negotiated this agreement because some of the lighting fixtures and other permanent fixtures that he had installed and we don't want to see removed. So we included that in the agreement that the city retains these permanent fixtures. We also established protocol that the Migraine brewery, that's the renovations going on, will not interfere with any event that he has going on as well. Also, as you know, just as information, the city has solicited requests for proposals for a new caterer, and recommendations should be made to you probably early September so that we can have a nice segue and they can start booking events, weddings into 2017 as early as possible. Council Memo 337 is a resolution appropriating funds, the motor fuel tax funds, before you pass the motion to spend those funds later on in the agenda under Council Member Memo 342. The next memo is, again, this is a resolution approving the 2016 Annual Action Plan for the CDBG fiscal year 2016, and also the 15 to 19 five-year consolidated plan. The point we have to do this is because we decided to join with Will County on our home portion of the programs and join the Will County Homes Consortium. So we still do retain the discretional authority to choose how the home funds will be allocated in the city, but since we have been out of it for 5-6 years and HUD is constantly changing their rules, we thought there would be a mutual gain here by having them administer the funds and then share a portion to cover that administrative fees that Will County will receive out of these funds. So it further lays out, I don't think anything's changed in terms of how the rest of the money will be spent under the CDBG portion. Again, the purpose for this is to allow us to join this home consortium. And this was at the urging of HUD. So.
Mayor? Yes, just a quick question, Jim. How does that in any way impact, how do they determine, who determines what Joliet gets? HUD or the county?
The county with the city, right. We have certain guidelines, that HUD establishes. It's just that we've been out of the business of administering it ourselves for so long that I don't think what they give us as a portion to cover the administrative fees would be enough. So we thought it was mutually beneficial to both the county and the city to join together with this consortium. There are other cities in the county and townships that receive home funds that are also part of this consortium.
So the county does decide, they'll get when HUD awards to their consortium, the county consortium, they decide how to divvy it up and who gets how much.
The city will be expending these funds within the city of Joliet, if that's your concern.
No, how do we determine if we get 800,000 or 900,000 as a city under this consortium plan? Who determines how much the city of Joliet gets?
HUD determines that we get the $350,353 based on our population and our need.
Okay.
And,
So it's
and
passed
that,
through to
and that goes strictly to home funds. The other 869,000 is CDBG. And we still administer that, and we decide how we're going to spend it.
And that amount is determined by HUD, not by the consortium. The
That's
amount
right.
that's awarded
Yeah,
to
the
us.
CDBG funds doesn't have anything to do with the county.
Okay.
We're administering that. Strictly the home funds, we're going to join the county consortium. The bids and contracts and amendments, change orders, and payments are reviewed by committee. I do want to point out the first item, Council Memo 340, was an emergency expenditure that I had to make for the purchase of a replacement HVAC unit for Silver Cross Field. And this does require a budget amount adjustment. And these units are 15 years old, and they're bound to have problems. So this one of them needed immediate attention, and actually, it won't even be, it's not installed. It'll take 3-4 weeks before it gets, because of the size of this, they have to, it's custom built and be installed. With that, I have a request for closed session at the end of the meeting.
Next, we have public comments. Christopher Pedersen.
Statesman IFB Pro Christopher Pedersen, 702 Vine Street, Joliet, 65. To this distinguished body of councilmen and councilwomen, I want to address full council, legal council, and Chief City Mayor James Sagan on the direction of the great city of Joliet, City of Chambers, Crossroads, America, State of Illinois, and the retirement of Director Jim Haller. I want to thank Director Jim Haller for his service to our great city for over 30 years, some of which in those early years in the Public Works Department. I want to see our great city and our city council make a proclamation for his retirement party July 29th for our administration.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak under public comment?
Buddy? I'm just here. I'm Kathy Williams, and I'm the community council of the Forest Park area. And I'm just here, if I can come down here with a complaint, I can come down here to let you all know the fine job that you all are doing. I really appreciate all of y'all. Y'all doing a good job. I listen to you all on Mondays and Tuesdays, and sometimes you have to tell people how they doing. I think y'all doing an excellent job. Councilman Gavin is my boss, but I kid you not, she did not know that I was coming.
I pay her well.
I was going to say, how much did you pay her, Betty?
But I just really would like to know, let you all know, Mayor, y'all doing a good job. I'm proud of y'all. And Chief Brenton, and I talked to him.
Yeah.
I would just like to let you know, you're doing a good job with your fine officers, but it's two in my sector, in the Forest Park area. It's Robinson and Durham. They are excellent. Please, don't ever take them away. And if you can give them a raise, go ahead and do it. That'll be nice. But, yeah, you're doing a fine job, the police department. I'm so proud of y'all. Thank you. That's all I want to say.
Thank you for the nice
I'm not
words.
complaining.
Thank you.
Thank you, Miss Kathy. We really need that. Thank you so much, and so did the police department.
I see you get that check in your mail.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak? Seeing none, is there a motion to go into closed session to discuss personnel, collective bargaining, land acquisition, or conveyance pending or threat litigation, after which the meeting will be adjourned?
Mayor, before we take that vote, I had a question
Sure.
I wanted to ask, and it just, for me, it's timely. I could wait till tomorrow, but I prefer not to. We've had another catastrophic incident here in our nation over the last day of 3 officers that were killed, one that was wounded and is still in the hospital. I don't know if this question is for you, Jim, or for the chief, Benton. Are we going back to 2 partner patrols in light of this? With the tensions, as they seem to be rising, with the tensions going on with the Republican convention, as I happened to see when I saw some news, and I'd really like to see us protecting our men and women in blue, like we did one that happened a week and a half ago.
I'll defer to the chief. And actually, I'm deferring to the chief because also, maybe you can report a little bit about your meeting in Washington, D.C. on Friday. Now he has to go to the podium.
Somebody didn't charge the batteries, I'm sorry. We are staffing 2 officer patrols throughout the week here in light of the incidents this weekend, but not for every vehicle. We're having additional officers out. We had a shooting over the weekend, so our area-based crime patrols that we put out to supplement the regular sector officers are going to be out in 2 officer patrols. But every car that's out there will not be assigned 2 officers. We did, though, send out some recommendations that the officers make sure that they have backup before they go into their calls, to make sure that even if it's just a simple traffic stop, that there's 2 officers there for each call. We ask them to take a little bit more time to wait for your backup. A lot of times the officers are eager to rush in there and solve the problem by themselves, but in light of some of the threats that they're facing, some of these potential ambush situations, we told the officers to take a little extra precaution and wait for their backup before they go in. So we're doing our best to try to make sure that they're not sent in alone and that they have backup when they do go in.
And Chief, I'm making a wild guess, but I think I'll be accurate on this. It's your job to keep the city safe with your staff. It's your job to keep your police safe, so it's good to hear that. If we're not going with all double patrols because of budget, it's our job to find the money. It's just your job to make sure that these men and women are safe. If they're safe, the city's safe. So never hesitate to come to us. I think I can speak for the council and say we'll find the money to take care of our own.
And I appreciate that. I think there was some perception that we don't have 2-man vehicles that are out there already. Some of our sectors are already staffed with 2 officer patrols. I don't mean 2-man, I mean 2 officer. But also our neighborhood policing officers, they work in teams. We strongly support the team philosophy in a lot of our areas. So we do have 2 officer patrols that are assigned throughout the city in different areas. We've just supplemented them throughout this difficult time that we're experiencing right now.
Thank you.
And to touch on the city manager's comments about being out there in Washington, I had the good fortune of sitting through a day-long session on advancing the 21st Century Policing Initiative that the president put forth this past year. As you know, policing has been a difficult profession across the nation. This last week has just exaggerated that, but after Ferguson, after Baltimore, some of those incidents, the president put forth a task force of civic leaders, law enforcement leaders, community leaders, attorneys, and tried to bring people together in different panels to see what does the future of policing look like? How can we get to the point where we are effective across the board in the job that we're doing? And they came up with 6 pillars that are basically the blueprint for us in moving forward, and that was what we were talking about in Washington. There's a series of meetings. This was a 3rd out of 7 that I feel fortunate to have been the pillars. I'm proud to say in Illinois, we're more advanced than some of the other states in the country. We have the community and police relations law this year that require, when you stop a citizen, for you to give them a business card, for you to give them the reason that you're stopping them, for all the pedestrian stops that you have. So there's some legitimacy in your interaction up front. That's light years ahead of other agencies, and so we're doing the right things here in Illinois, especially in Joliet. Through our accreditation program, we make sure that we have a lot of the training recommendations already in place that agencies throughout this nation, quite frankly, aren't near where we are. So it was reassuring to sit through this session and to see that we're on the right track and we're leading the way, I'm proud to say.
You know, I would just make one last comment, Mayor, too, because there was a time, everything I've read about these incidents, a lot of the local folks are asking for neighborhood or community-oriented policing programs. Let's get it started. We've had it for a number of years. We got away shortly when we did a layoff several years ago. A former councilman, who's now mayor, pushed hard to bring it back, and we all got it back. So you're right. We're ahead of a lot of these communities that want to start a program. We already have our program.
And to echo that comment, we brought in, with your permission, a resource analyst study, Dr. Weiss, who is working with us now to look at our allocations, and he goes across the country to major departments, even in New Orleans and Oakland, a lot of agencies that he's gone in, dissected, and made recommendations for, and he pulled me aside and said, I have to tell you, Chief, of all the departments that I've been to, your department really does community policing. You really do model the example. A lot say that they do, a lot put it in their policies, and a lot promote it, but they don't really do it. You guys have taken that to heart, and you're modeling community policing as well. So, again, thank you for noticing. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Mayor, just to piggyback on what Councilman Hugg said, I think when we look at the budget this year, we should look at trying to add some more police officers to our department, because they've been short for quite some time. Before the budget gets, so we can
That's smart, yeah.
make room.
Agreed.
Is there a motion to go into closed session to discuss personnel, collective bargaining, land acquisition or conveyance, pending or threat litigation, after which the meeting will be adjourned?
So moved.
Second.
It's a motion seconded to approve. Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Girl.
Aye.
Councilman Hugg.
Aye.
Councilman McFarland.
Aye.
Councilman Mudron.
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Yeah, he's up.